After studying this module, you shall be able to know the outline of the techniques of autobiography and autoethnography. Learn about the distinctive features of autobiography and autoethnography. Identify the different types of autobiography and autoethnography. Evaluate the two forms of research method. Autobiography and autoethnography are qualitative forms of research which focus primarily on the subject and systematic analysis of his or her experiences in their cultural background. This module has been divided into two parts. Part 1, Introduction to Autobiography. This part focuses on the nature of autobiography, its origin, characteristics, and lastly, weighs it in context of its strengths and weaknesses as a research method. Introduction to autoethnography. It highlights the concept of autoethnography, its historical background, and key features, evaluating as a technique of qualitative research. Defining autobiography. Autobiography is an account of series of events which make up a person's life such that it is written or told by that individual, him, herself. Thus, it is a methodology of narration which deals with telling and documenting one's own life. It is used in psychology as a tool for investigating social life. This is done by comprehending the position of an individual in the wider social, cultural, and historical context they inhabit and interpreting these findings in terms of psychological theories and explanations. Since autobiography focuses on subjective knowledge, interpretations, and understandings, autobiographical research is qualitative in nature. Autobiography can be used as a research methodology in two ways: as an assessment technique in which the subjective data is analyzed by the researcher, a narrative technique wherein the researcher adopts a reflexive perspective and presents the multiple realities and experiences of the world along with role of researcher him herself from deciding on the topic to analysis and establishment of the work. Difference between biography and autobiography. Autobiography is a biography written by the subject themselves. Auto means self, hence it is a self biography. A biography is a detailed non-fictional account of someone's life. It is usually written about a historical person, living or dead. It is written by any other person, that is, a writer, depicts a subject's life. Autobiography need not be authorized or unauthorized as the subject is writing his her own life. Biography can be authorized or unauthorized. Autobiography can be much more intimate and revealing than a biography due to subject's own insight. Biography is more objective, so the reader is more likely to get a story from several angles rather than just by the subject's views. Example: the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi, My Experiments with Truth. Example: the biography of Leonardo da Vinci, named as Leonardo da Vinci, Flight of the Mind, was written by Charles Nicoll. History of autobiography. The term autobiography was coined by poet Robert Southey in 1809 in the British Quarterly Review. Auto means self in the Greek and bios standing for life, while graphy stands for writing. The origin of autobiographies date back to 400 AD when Saint Augustine, a prodigal, wrote his confession of his journey of becoming a saint. Distinctive feature of autobiography. The characteristics of an autobiography are as follows. It should always be written in first person. It should include personal triumph, failures, hardships, stimulating problem situations, or private wants. It should be written in past tense. The events should be arranged in a chronological order so that time connectives can be drawn. It should describe the events in detail with images, dialogues, and other emotive form of language. Lastly, it should only state facts and should be free of personal opinions. Types of autobiographies. Autobiographies can be written in various forms. Based on the events which form the focus of the study, it can be of the following types. Full autobiography. It is a form of autobiography which accounts for the entire life of an individual. It is also known as a life history method as it covers all events since birth till death of an individual. Example, The Gold Coast and Slum by Jorbaugh, 1929. Memoirs. It is more subjective style of autobiography that works on the principle of selectivity as it explores only specific aspects of an individual's life and accounts for those particular feelings and experiences. It can be further categorized as coming of age memoir. These are restricted to childhood. Example, Running with Scissors, a memoir by Augustine Burroughs, details the author's life from 13 to 16-year-old growing up in a dysfunctional family. Vocational, occupational memoir. It covers subject's entire life but is limited to those parts which relate the recognition and fulfillment of a particular calling. Example, Gandhi, an autobiography. Ecological memoirs. Those combine a sense of place with a spiritual theme which dissolves distinctions between self and earth. Tempest Williams, Refuse an Unnatural History of Family and Place. Religious autobiography. It is used as a manner of finding and promoting a particular faith. Example, Autobiography of a Yogi. Autobiography, short stories. In this form of autobiography, single small turning point of life becomes the epiphany of the story. Example, Christopher Isherwood's Berlin Stories. Conceptual autobiography. It is a form of autobiography in which the author goes out and does something outrageous or puts him herself into an unusual situation in order to write about the experience. Example, George Orwell's Down and Out in Paris and London, where he intentionally allowed himself to fall into miserable poverty so that he could report how men live in bottom rung of society. Evaluation of autobiography technique. Strengths. It is the integration of self and the society, thereby helping us understand the interaction of an individual and his/her environment and culture. It helps provide an insight to the author him/herself. It personalizes historical events, therefore can help future generations to relate to those events by reading from the point of view of those who lived through them. They also allow the reader to be in someone else's shoes and come to understand their motivation and behavior. Example, the autobiography of Malcolm X recounts his childhood experiences, criminal past and religious journey and softened attitude towards his legacy. Weakness. It is always viewed with skepticism as readers can feel that the purpose of the author is to lie rather than to inform. It is highly subjective in nature and can be said to lack empirical basis. Introduction to autoethnography. Defining autoethnography. Autoethnography is a method of research or a form of self-narrative which involves self-observation and reflexive investigation that places the self within a social context. It involves method of research and writing which is a combination of autobiography and ethnography. The term autoethnography has two meanings: ethnographic study of one's own group, autobiographical reflection that includes ethnographic observations and analysis. Ethnography A related concept involves personal engagement with the subject to understand a particular culture. It uses participant observation, interviews, conversation and document analysis and film and photography to understand the culture of particular places like a school or a factory. Thus, in this context, autoethnography can be defined as an approach to research and writing that seeks to describe and systematically analyze personal experience in order to understand cultural experience. Historical background. Jacques Derrida laid the foundation of autoethnography as a central theme in postmodernism. In his words, autobiography is also autobiography or autoethnography, that is, a biography that comes to life only through counter signature of the reader or hearer. Auto means pertaining to the ear, thus, the meaning of the text is shaped by both the specific other and the anonymous generalized other. The generalized other recognizes pattern of cultural, historical and socio-cultural practices in the description provided by the autoethnographers. Therefore, the readers of the text have much responsibility for the meaning that they deconstruct. Derrida also pointed out that the words used in the text are not just one's own, they also belong to someone else. This someone else refers to the generalized other who interpret the text in their own way and provide ontological flexibility and ambiguity to the text. Also, the language used in the text belongs to the culture and therefore the other. Finally, Derrida also pointed out that autobiography is a process of creating an archive of self. Throughout the year, scholars and researchers have realized that traditional research methods can authoritatively invade a culture, exploit the cultural members, and then researchers might recklessly leave to write about the culture by disregarding relational ties with its members. Many scholars have now turned to autoethnography because they wanted to concentrate on ways of producing meaningful and accessible research, which is grounded in personal experience. Furthermore, scholars also recognize the fact that different people possess different assumptions about the world. They thought that conventional ways of doing research were narrow and limiting. The traditional method often insists on using a white, masculine, heterosexual, middle upper class perspective, which disregarded other ways of knowing. However, the use of autoethnography was thought to expand and open up a wider lens on the world, helping the researcher to understand how the people they claim to study are perceived and what are their interpretations about the topic. Features of autoethnography. Some of the key features of autoethnography are: in autoethnography, there is both reference to the self and reference to the culture. It focuses on describing and analyzing personal experience to understand cultural experience. An autoethnography produces a thick description of the culture to facilitate understanding of that culture. An autoethnographer can decide who, what, where, when and how to research. These decisions could be based on institutional requirements, resources and personal circumstances. The names and places may be changed for protection of identity. Autoethnography is a qualitative research method that acknowledges and accommodates subjectivity, emotionality and the researcher's influence on research. The process of doing autoethnography. Autoethnography as a method is the combination of the characteristics of autobiography and ethnography. The author retroactively and selectively writes about the past experiences that are accumulated using hindsight. Author may consult photographs, films, documents and notes to help recall specific information that include in the text. Mostly, autobiographers write about epiphanies, which include significant moments that have impacted the person's life, times of crisis that forced the person to attend to and remember the particular situation and specific life changing events. The epiphanies reflect the feelings, recollections, or images the person may have of the situation. While doing ethnography, the researcher employs participant observations and collects information by taking field notes, interviewing cultural members, examining their ways of speaking or relating to each other, and analyzing the use of space or text like books or photographs. Thus, an autoethnographer writes about epiphanies by being part of a culture and attempts to familiarize both insider and outsiders with the characteristics of that culture. Types of autoethnography. There are different types of autoethnographies based on the emphasis placed on the study of others, the researcher's personal experience and interaction with others, and the power relationships. Indigenous native ethnography. This type of ethnography is used to disrupt the power used in research to suppress another researcher's right to study others. The indigenous or native ethnographers can then work and construct their own personal and cultural experience. Narrative ethnographies. It refers to the text which are presented in the form of stories. These stories incorporate the experiences of the ethnographer into description and analysis of others. Reflexive, dyadic interviews. The focus of interview is not only on the meanings produced by the story of the participant, but also on the thoughts and feelings of the researcher. These may include the motivation and emotional responses to the interview. The personal reflection by the researcher adds context and layers to the story about the participant. Layered accounts. They emphasize the author's experiences and the procedural nature of research. It may be considered similar to grounded theory, as it illustrates the data collection and analysis proceeds simultaneously. It may be considered similar to grounded theory, as it illustrates the data collection and analysis proceed simultaneously. However, layered account make use of vignettes, reflexivity, multiple voices and introspection, and invoke in readers to the emergent experience of doing and writing research. Interactive interviews. Interactive interviews can be considered to be a collaborative endeavor between the researcher and the research participants. They are involved in a conversation about a particular topic and can probe each other on specific issues. The emphasis is on the learning that takes place from the interview and from the stories narrated by each person. Community autoethnographies. It is similar to interactive interviews. They use the personal experience of the researcher along with that of the participants to show how a community can manifest particular social and cultural issues. Co-constructed narratives. They show the meaning of relational experience. For example, how people can collaboratively deal with the uncertainties and ambiguities of being friends or intimate partners. They view relationships as jointly authored research projects. Thus, each person will first write his or her own experience and then share it with other person. Both of them will then analyze and react to the story written by the other person. Personal narratives. Personal narratives propose to understand a self or some aspect of a life as it intersects with a cultural context, connect to other participants as co-researchers, and invite readers to enter the author's world and to use what they learn there to reflect on, understand, and cope with their own lives. For example, stories of authors who write narrative which are focused on their academic, research and personal lives. Evaluation of autoethnography as a technique. Strength. Autoethnography involves use of reflective and critical approaches to understand social and cultural life. It emphasizes the relationship between the self and the social world. Autoethnographic texts provide a combined synthesis or the objective and the subjective point of view. Weaknesses. Autoethnography is often criticized for lacking scientific standards and rigor and for being theoretical, aesthetic and emotional. Autoethnographers may observe few cultural members and thus not take into account the differences that exist in the culture. Autoethnographers may sometimes use biased data to show their personal experience with the culture in a positive light. Thus, autobiography and autoethnography unearth the nature and causes of human behavior in relation to their social setup. Furthermore, autoethnography uses tenets of ethnography and autobiography in its process. Consequently, it is believed to be both a process and product of the research methodology.
Let us first begin with an introduction to autobiography. Autobiography can be defined as an account of series of events concerning an individual's life that is written or told by himself or herself. The term autobiography was coined by Robert Southey in 1809. It can be broken down into autos, which is the Greek word for self, bios, which means life, and graphy, which means writing. Thus, autobiography is also called self biography. The basic features of an autobiography are: it should be written in the first person and in the past tense. It should include prominent events in one's life, like triumphs, failures, etc. All the events should be arranged in chronological order. The events should be described in great detail by using images, dialogues, and emotive forms of language. Finally, care must be taken that the autobiography includes only facts and should be free from personal opinions. Now, let us look at the types of autobiography. There are four types of autobiography: full autobiography, memoirs, autobiography short story, and conceptual autobiography. Memoirs can be subdivided into coming of age memoirs, vocational or occupational memoirs, ecological memoirs, and religious autobiography. Let us look at each of these types. Full autobiography narrates the entire life of an individual since birth to death, and hence is also called life history of the person. For example, The Gold Coast and the Slum, written by Zorborg. Memoirs is a type of autobiography which selectively studies specific aspects of a person's life. They include coming of age memoirs, which are restricted to an individual's childhood. An example is Running with Scissors, a memoir by Augustin Burroughs. Vocational or occupational memoirs, which are concerned with the recognition of a particular calling in the subject's entire life, like in Mahatma Gandhi's An Autobiography. Ecological memoirs, which emphasize the role of an individual's physical environment in realizing his or her spiritual self. For example, Tempest Williams' Refuge, An Unnatural History of Family and Place. And religious autobiography, which is used for finding and promoting a particular faith, like in Autobiography of a Yogi. Next type is autobiography short story, in which the epiphany of the story is a turning point in the person's life. For example, Berlin Stories by Christopher Isherwood. The last type of autobiography is a conceptual autobiography, in which the author does something outrageous or puts himself or herself in some unusual situation to experience a novel or unknown concept. He or she then writes about this unusual experience in the form of an autobiography. For example, George Orwell's Down and Out in Paris and London. Finally, let us consider some of the advantages and disadvantages of autobiography as a technique. Its strengths include an interaction of the self and the society, thus helping people to develop an understanding of the interaction between the individual and his environment. It helps in providing an insight into the author's life by personalizing historical events and helping the readers to relate to them. Thus, the reader gets an insight into the author's motivation and behavior by reading their perspective to life. However, autobiographies have some weaknesses too. They are said to be highly subjective in nature and lacking empirical basis. Thus, some readers may feel that incorrect or incomplete information is presented by the author. Coming to the second part of the module, Introduction to Autoethnography. Autoethnography may be defined as a method of research and a form of self narrative which places the self within the social context by using techniques like self observation and reflexive investigation. It involves a combination of autobiography, which is a narration of one's own life, and ethnography, that is, understanding a particular culture by using techniques like observation, interviews with the natives, etc. Autoethnography can be broken into auto, meaning self, ethno, which means cultural experience, and graphy, denoting analyzing and writing. The historical emergence of autoethnography can be traced back to the time when Jacques Derrida introduced autoethnography as a central issue in postmodernism. He defined autoethnography as a biography that comes to life through the counter signature of the reader or hearer. Thus, he also called it autobiography or autoethnography, as auto refers to ear. Derrida emphasized that the meaning of the text is shaped both by the specific other, that is, the person with whom the autoethnographer had interacted during the course of the study, and the generalized other, that is, society in general. Gradually, there was a shift in the methodology of social science research. An increasing number of researchers insisted on using meaningful and accessible research grounded to personal experience rather than following traditional methods which they thought to be narrow and limiting. Thus, autoethnography evolved as a useful and adequate tool in this respect. Let us look at some of the key features of autoethnography. There is self reference as well as reference to the culture. The focus is on description and analysis of personal experience to understand cultural experience. Autoethnographies produce thick description of a culture to facilitate its understanding. Autoethnographers can decide the subject matter and other requirements of research based on institutional requirements, that is, permission from authority, resources like money, and personal circumstances. The names and places involved in the research can be changed in the text to ensure protection of identity. Finally, autoethnography can be thought of as a qualitative research method that acknowledges subjectivity, emotionality, and researchers' influence in the research process. Now, let us see how an autoethnography is formulated. An autoethnography is a combination of the characteristics of autobiography and ethnography. The author of an autoethnography retroactively selects specific information from past experiences to include in his or her text. Photographs, films, documents, and notes may help in the recall process. Mostly, autobiographers write about epiphanies, which are significant moments in the person's life, times of crisis or specific life changing events. These reflect the feelings and recollections of the researcher in that situation. The autoethnographer collects information from the field by using ethnographic techniques like participant observation, conducting interviews with the native members of the culture, and by analyzing texts such as books or photographs. Thus, by reading an autoethnography, both insiders and outsiders are familiarized with the characteristics of that particular culture. Coming to the types of autoethnography, there are 8 types of autoethnography: indigenous or native ethnography, narrative ethnography, reflexic or dietic interviews, layered accounts, interactive interviews, community autoethnographies, co constructed narratives, and personal narratives. Let us consider each type individually. The first type is indigenous or native ethnography, in which native ethnographers can work to construct their own personal and cultural experience. Next is narrative ethnographies, which include text presented in the form of stories that incorporate the experience of ethnographer into description and analysis of others. Reflexic or didactic interviews focus on the meaning produced by the story of the participant and also on the thoughts, feelings, and motivation of the researcher. Layered accounts emphasize the author's role in the research process and also suggest that data collection and analysis occur simultaneously. They make use of vignettes, reflexivity, and introspection. Interactive interviews include a conversation between the researcher and research participants in which they discuss a particular topic and emphasis is on the learning from the stories narrated by each individual. Thus, this type of autoethnography is considered to be a collaborative endeavor between the researcher and the research participants. Community autoethnographies are considered to be similar to interactive interviews as they place importance on the personal experience of the researcher along with that of the participant. They attempt to show how a particular community can manifest particular social and cultural issues. Co constructed narratives emphasize the meaning of relational experience. They view relationships as jointly authored research projects and show how people deal with uncertainties and ambiguities involved in relationships like friendship or intimate romantic relationships. Lastly, personal narratives involve understanding self within a cultural context. They encourage readers to understand the author's perspective and use this knowledge to reflect on, understand, and cope with their own lives. Finally, let us evaluate autoethnography in terms of its strength and weaknesses. Some of the strengths of autoethnography are: an autoethnography uses reflective and critical approach to understand cultural life. It emphasizes this relationship between the self and the social world. Autoethnographic texts provide a combined synthesis of the objective and subjective points of view, thus proving to be a rich source of data. Some of the weaknesses or criticisms of autoethnography are: it is said to lack scientific rigor and is considered to be extremely theoretical, emotional, or aesthetic. Few cultural members may be observed, therefore, ignoring the differences that exist in the culture. Sometimes biased data might be used by the autoethnographers who want to show their research experience in a positive light.
Summary: autobiography is a method of narration of one's own life, and autoethnography is method of using self-observation which places emphasis on the self within a socio-cultural context. Autobiography is characterized by description of personal experience like triumph, hardship, etc., arranged in a chronological order. Autoethnography differs from the traditional research techniques by emphasizing the subjective, cultural, and ethnic elements. Autobiography and autoethnography are interrelated techniques of investigation, as autoethnography draws a part of itself from autobiography.